Okay, so what you see in front of you now is my Outlook window, and you see it's just a regular Outlook window with the usual fields. And on the right side of the screen, you'll notice the Harmony window. Now, the Harmony window, as you saw just previously in that slide, gives you a full view of all your SharePoint locations, what the individual has access to. So in this case, what I have access to in SharePoint. What I have access to in Teams. So if I open up SharePoint, I see my SharePoint sites. I can see my team sites that I'm connected to, and I also see my. I can also click through and see my OneDrive documents. So it's very much like a Windows Windows Explorer, and I can navigate the tree very similar to the way that I would do in Windows. Just double click, and I can go up and down the tree. So that's one easy way to find documents. And the huge advantage here is that people often spend a lot of their time in email. In fact, email is still probably the place where workers, regular workers, not IT people or just people working on document security or compliance, everybody spends their day working in email. So having access to all your documents in that same window without requiring you to toggle out to another app and see a different user interface and start searching for things is what makes this super productive, because people can continue to work in the place that they spend their work time and be able to find things very quickly. A couple other things we've added here which make it really convenient is we have the ability to add favorites, so you can pin locations that you use often to the top of the screen so that you can get to locations very quickly. And another nice new feature recently added in Harmony 365 is this ability to see your recent documents. So things that you were working on recently, this is actually reading from the Microsoft Graph. So even if it's things that you didn't necessarily use through this interface, it will still be able to pull those documents and display those as things that you were recently working on. So just the fact that you have access to all your documents directly in the window here is a godsend. And it's not just a view of this is actually fully functional. So I can do things like I can open the document in a browser, I can show a preview of the document, and I'll do that in a moment. I'll show that after we do a search, but I can actually work on these. I can share the document with other people. So these are fully functional documents, and you're just looking at your normal Microsoft 365 document repositories. Now, we talked about finding things, and finding things, you know, if you just look at the locations here, we got lots of different locations. There are many places, and you know, if I had to find a document, I don't remember where I put it, I'd be in hot water. But that's what this is all about, is being able to solve this very quickly. And what it is very simple. I just click in the window up here, and this becomes a search window, just like a search bar that you have in any application or in a browser. And what I'm going to do is, let me actually start by going to one of my favorite locations, because I think the document that I'm looking for is in this legal document. I have a document that I think is in here. I got a bunch of other things in here. So let me just do it. I'm going to do a text search for the word test, and I'm going to search in the current library. And well, I found one document, but that's not exactly what I was looking for. So there's a couple things I can do here. One is I can go and click on this button, on this hyperlink below, to extend the search scope to the current site and go up a level and look at a broader scope. Or what I can do is I can go up to the bar again, and instead of looking at the current library, I can pick the search scope. So oftentimes, if my search scope is too narrow, I don't get enough results. If I go too wide, I get too many results. So this granularity, this fine granularity that Harmony provides, is the key to being able to find things. Is one of the keys to being able to find things, the things that you need to get to very quickly. So I'm just going to skip up to all locations, because I want to get more documents. So I'm going to skip a level, and I'm going to see what I got here. Well, I got a lot. So you see at the bottom here, I got 399 items, and I know it's in this list. It's probably in this list somewhere, but this is just way too much stuff to go through. There's no way I'm going to be able to plow through all of this. So let's try and figure out how I can narrow this down to find something that's a bit narrower in scope. What I'm going to do is here, I'm going to click, right-click at the top of this column that shows where the documents come from. So maybe before I click on that, I'm just going to show here, you have all the information about the document, the name, you know which app it comes from, which is a really critical piece. It's a very valuable piece to know whether it was in a Teams location or a SharePoint location or a OneDrive location. You have the path to it. You know it was modified. We'll look at, as we drill down, we'll see that as we get more granular, we get more information about the document directly in this window. So I'm going to right-click on the app filter column, and I'm going to filter the app, and now I'm going to say, let's see, do I want to pick all the documents that are in SharePoint and OneDrive or in Teams? This is very much like an Excel type of selection window. And I'm going to say, I think the document that I have is in Teams somewhere, so I'm just going to select all the documents in Teams. And I still have a lot here. I got 20 documents, and I think it's one of these. I think it's this test and plan. So one of the things I can do here is I can show the preview or save it. But what I want to do is I'm going to open that location. So I can open containing location. Harmony takes me to that place, to that folder. And now I can see not only this particular document, but I see all the related documents. Oftentimes, usually you store the documents in locations based on some sort of strategy, whether it be customer name or project name or type of product that you're working on or project. So once you are able to locate one document, it's just as a search tactic, it's easy to find other related documents just by getting to that place where related documents are likely to be found. And this is actually really important oftentimes, not only when you want to find something, but also when you want to classify something. I'll come back to this in a little bit. But the idea is that if you want to upload, sometimes some of your people, not everyone in your organization, but some people will want to share content either in SharePoint, Teams, or OneDrive with other people. If they do that, Harmony allows you to do that very easily, and this feature makes it easy to figure out where to store that information, because I can find related content and then know that likely that the document I want to store should be stored here as well. I'll come back to that in just a few minutes. Before I just look at this test plan and safety document, I scroll over to the right, and you can see that I also am able to see some of the metadata. So some of the metadata that we've defined for this document, who the client is, the project, not all the metadata is filled in, but there is a fair amount of metadata that we have already defined for this. Metadata is also something that you can search for. I'll show you that in just a moment. But before I do that, I just want to show you that if I look at this document, I can do things like show preview. It's very easy to do that directly from here. So I can preview the document without having to open it. And this way I'm also able to say, if I want to look at another document, I can just click on that document and preview it in the same window without having to open each document. This is a fantastic way to be able to find something. Maybe the document name is something which is similar to other ones, and you can just literally scroll up the page and click on documents to see which one you're looking for without having to open up each one individually. Of course, you want to open up each one, you just double click on it and it will open that document. You can also do other things here. For example, you can view the properties of the document. It'll show you all the properties and the metadata, so you can edit that. Here, you can also look at things like the version history. So this document has several old versions. You're able to restore old versions or open old versions to see perhaps what the changes were since a previous document was written and shared. A lot of capabilities of actually just doing work are available right here in your Outlook window, working with the documents that you need to work with on a daily basis. So this is a fantastic way to keep people in focus, in context, without having to toggle out to other apps and start looking for information, which we know is one of the leading causes of distraction, overload, stress that's related to trying to orient yourself in different applications as you move from window to window. You also have the capability here, a couple other things that are interesting. You can also share this document. So taking advantage of some of Microsoft's fantastic abilities to, I'm not sure which one here, I'm not sure this is going to work. Give this a shot. That's, I think we'll just skip this one here. You take advantage of Microsoft's capabilities for sharing. I can share links with people, and it's very easy to be able to do that right from here. And another thing sometimes you need to do is maybe apply a retention label. So sometimes this is becoming an important thing for compliance. So again, regular business users don't really know about compliance, often don't care about compliance, and just allowing them to be able to do something super easy by setting that retention label here without having to go out and do it in the native interface is a fantastic way to save people a lot of effort and time for finding things. Now, you can do things other than just a regular other than a regular search. You can also use search by other things, like you can search by metadata. So if I'm using enterprise keywords, I can do a search based on that. I'm just using that for this example. I probably won't find anything here, but if I extend the search to all locations, I probably will find something. I found a bunch of other things. Now, one of the other things you can do, I showed you how you can filter by app, but you can also filter by all columns. So you can filter also by the document type. So we only have PDF and Word, but if I just want to say, see, I mean, this is kind of obvious, you'll just find the Word file, but it's easy just to also find all the, to filter by any of those filters. And of course, if you click on the top, it'll on the banner, it will sort alphabetically and reverse alphabet, of course. So this is just some very simple ways to do this. You can also search for other things. You can search out of the box. By the way, these are all out of the box features. You can also search by author, file extensions. So sometimes maybe I'm looking for I'm looking for all the just the Word files, and I can get to those very quickly, same way. So the idea is search scope, filters, sorting, use of metadata. These are all very useful and also very practical ways to get to the information you need quickly for your typical business user. Now, think about this. This is a product that is intended for anybody who uses Microsoft documents, Microsoft 365 documents. This is not necessarily somebody who needs to upload and share information, upload documents to SharePoint. It's people who might just be sharing documents in a Teams conversation, during a Teams meeting, sharing it in the chat. Any way that those documents get into Microsoft 365, you can find them here. And everybody working today, whether they're at home, in the office, or in some hybrid mode, needs to work with documents on a daily basis. One of the biggest problems is finding them. This is a classic way to be able to find them very quickly and be able to work with them. Now, just before rounding out the demo, I just want to show one thing very quickly, is because there are some people in the organization who do need to share documents or need to store documents in SharePoint or in Teams for various reasons, compliance reasons. So let's take a look at an example here. I'm going to go back to one of my locations, to my favorites. So I work in this legal folder. I do a lot of my work here, and I'm at this point, I'm working on a merger. You see that in the email, I have an email that came in about a possible merger that I'm working on with Sam, and we're providing some sort of consulting advice to this organization. So they send some documents over, and I want to be able to share this with colleagues using SharePoint as the centralized document repository in Microsoft 365. I can literally just take a document and drag it over to the sidebar, putting it in the library where I'm looking. And because this is a folder in a library that requires metadata, I'm prompted for the metadata, so I can just supply the metadata here, and I get all the values. This is related to Glory Inc. And then I can save that document. It asks if I want to save it as a minor or major version. And that document literally now is available in that SharePoint location. So no need to go and toggle over to SharePoint, save the document, upload it, and then supply the metadata. It's literally just drag and drop. As I mentioned before, the search capabilities are really critical here, because oftentimes people don't know where to share that document. A company profile with the Glory merger, where do I put it? Do I put it in the Glory folder? Do I put it in the merger folder? Don't know where to do it. Again, I can use the search capabilities to find like documents, so documents that are related to either similar mergers or other Glory documents. Find that, see that those documents, similar documents, are in that place, and then drag the document or the email. So for example, I can also store the email. I can drag the email across as well and store that additionally. Again, I'm prompted for metadata because because this folder requires metadata, and I can save it. Now, so the search is great for every user, but it's also great for those people who need to capture and classify information for either compliance or email management, project management, account management, whatever the business need is, to be able to use search to find the place to locate where you want to store the materials. So this is just a very quick demo that steps you through how everybody who uses Microsoft 365 can benefit from using Harmony, even if they don't need to store documents. Anyone who works with documents has trouble finding documents today, and this is the easiest way to do it right from the place where people are spending their work time. So I'm just